President Joe Biden insists that America's banking system is safe. Today, he announced plans to make sure account holders get all of their money. This after the collapse of two U.S. banks.
Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe. Your deposits are safe. Let me also assure you, we will not stop at this. We'll do whatever is needed.
President Biden partially blames the Trump administration for the problem, saying earlier bank regulations were relaxed. Now he wants Congress to restore more oversight. The president says taxpayers will not be on the hook for the bailouts, but he does want to hold bank leaders accountable. And joining us tonight to weigh in on this and more is Julie Gunlock, program director at the Independent Women's Forum. Julie, great to have you with us as always. These were both pretty well-established banks, and their collapse marks the second and third largest bank failures in U.S. history. What's your take on this, and what do you think this signals?
This bank was taking extreme risks for years, and there were other things that we now know about this bank. It was taking deposits over the $250,000 insurable rate that the FDIC sets as a rule. They were also doing things like investing in things that are very sensitive to interest rate hikes, and we've seen those interest rates go up. So as they went up, those investments were losing money. The other thing is that 97% of the deposits into this bank were uninsured. So people would have lost money. Now there is a bailout. I know the Biden administration is not saying that this is, or is saying rather that this is not a bailout. It is definitely a bailout. And as usual, middle Americans are going to hurt. They're going to bail out this bank, and the rich will stay richer. This offers an incredible incentive to other banks to do this because they know, look, if we take risky investments and risky deposits and break the FDIC rules, it doesn't matter because we'll be bailed out. So, this is a very, very alarming situation, and it doesn't look like the government is really going to seek true reforms here. They're going to bail them out, and then they're going to add more layers on more regulatory layers that really won't do anything.
Julie, we've been hearing a lot about, contagion now. Do you think these banks are just maybe the first two dominoes to fall, or do you think these are just isolated incidents? I mean, should we worry?
Look, I think that this isn't actually an isolated incident. I think this was an incredibly badly run bank. It was the most woke bank out there. It's really important to remember they went for 8 months without someone assessing the risk that bank was taking. And before that, they had someone in as the chief risk assessor of the company, was a woman who was much more interested in organizing a month-long or a 2-month-long Pride celebration and offering safe spaces to employees who could come out and talk about their LGBTQ journey. This was not a serious bank, and it did not employ serious people looking out for investors and looking out for the management of the bank. They took incredible risks with this money. The deposits were uninsured, and again, they invested in things that were very sensitive to the interest rates. This is not normal banking business, and so I do think that this is a one-off. But I do think that the hysterics we're seeing is partly so that that bank can be bailed out. They are saying, oh gosh, this is going to be a domino effect in order to create alarmism in the market and get the Biden administration to bail them out. And frankly, it looks like it worked.
Julie, we have about a minute left. I want to switch to Pope Francis now. As you know, today marks the 10th anniversary of his pontificate. Over the weekend, he called gender ideology one of the, quote, most dangerous ideological colonizations. I know you follow this so-called gender wars really closely here in the United States. Your reaction to the Holy Father's statement?
Well, I have to say, and I mean this respectfully, it's about time. This cultural contagion that we have seen take over mostly young girls is terrifying. Parents are battling for the souls of their children and against, I mean, we're talking child mutilation here. Ultimately leads to child mutilation. But what it does, and Pope Francis really nailed it here when he said it confuses the differences, the beautiful differences between men and women. And he kind of, I thought it was interesting how he said, you know, we'll all end up being alike. And there's nothing beautiful about that. But I have to say, it is about time. We really need the Pope's support on this. Parents all over the country need the Pope's support and the church's strong support on this issue. It is a very worrisome issue. And again, parents all over the country are trying to regain control over their children.
Well, Julie, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much for coming on. Terrific insights as always.
Thanks for having me.